The holidays are behind us. Good reason, says our Jim Gaffigan, to celebrate.
Well, I made it. I survived the holidays with my family, my families, all those weirdos that I'm somehow related to. Let's just say, if God is the producer of the holiday season, he tends to lean into drama. I am truly grateful that I can spend time with these goofballs, but the amount of crisis and tension I encounter during the holiday season often makes me feel like I'm involuntarily participating in a reality show. The entire holiday season seems like a series of rotating reality show experiences. In early November, I always envision Thanksgiving being like the Great British Bake Off, with everyone being supportive and polite.
Your sponges are actually really good.
What?
But often what transpires is more reminiscent of kitchen nightmares.
That is well done!
What about this?
It's well done!
Or even nailed it.
Oh, I don't mean to laugh, but what is happening?
December has all those holiday work parties, which seem to bring out behavior from coworkers more commonly found on Jersey Shore or The Masked Singer.
Take it off! Take it off! Take it off!
Heck, even getting to holiday destinations often has a heavy, amazing race vibe.
It's gonna take another hour. Okay, well then take this out and let's just go.
If you go on a trip with your family during the holidays, you subject yourself to a whole other set of reality show comparisons. I took my family on a beach vacation, which at times felt like a never-ending Survivor episode, where unfortunately nobody was voted off.
Travis spoken.
I'm just grateful it didn't get to the point of naked and afraid.
Where else would you like me to clean my bum?
The holiday season officially ends with New Year's Eve, which for some reason turns normal adults into participants on Love Island. I guess any time with family can turn into a Real Housewives episode.
You'll never everybody go near my husband. Everybody will know. You understand that? Everybody will go after my husband.
But around the holidays, you really wish Andy Cohen was there to keep the peace. Happy New Year, everyone.
It's not Irish whiskey, but our Jim Gaffigan knows just how to imbibe on St. Patrick's Day, or any other day for that matter.
Part of me can't believe I'm about to say this, but I like bourbon. I don't know if that means I'm an old man or just an alcoholic. Enjoying hard liquor is new for me. I've always been a beer guy. In the past, when a friend would say, let's get a scotch or a whiskey, I'd think, well, I guess we could pretend like we're in a Tennessee Williams play. But now I like bourbon. Like is how far you can go with your enthusiasm for any alcohol. If you're too passionate, you sound like you have a problem. If I said, I love bourbon, I might as well be announcing, I need help. I guess that's why some people use the term aficionado. When someone says, I'm a bourbon aficionado, it probably means they drink too much bourbon. My wife and I will occasionally have a bourbon every night. Sharing a small glass of bourbon together gives us an opportunity to reconnect as a couple and try to forget we have children. When I recently did some shows in Louisville, I stayed in a hotel that had a store in the lobby that primarily sold bourbon. The store also sold glassware and bourbon-related paraphernalia, but the reason there were groups of smiling 60-year-old men walking around was probably the bourbon. I decided to surprise my wife by buying a couple of bottles of bourbon. Don't tell me I'm not romantic. After the cashier wrapped up the last bottle in bubble wrap like it was some precious historical artifact, she casually mentioned, I don't know if this is a big deal, but this bottle of bourbon costs $1,100. Does that matter? I thought, well, not if it includes the factory. Does it matter? Only if my children expect to go to college. It should have been an easy answer. Nobody needs an $1,100 bottle of bourbon. I didn't buy that bottle of bourbon, but part of me felt like I deserved it. Parenting is that hard. I guess I wanted that bottle of bourbon for my wife and me and for our children. I mean, because of our children. I'm a bourbon aficionado.
Now from our Jim Gaffigan, something really corny.
In the summer after 7th grade, okay, that isn't a photo of me from 7th grade. Look, it was the 1970s and I was the youngest of 6 kids. Honestly, I'm surprised there are any photos of me. Anyway, in the summer after 7th grade, I tried to grow corn in sand. I did. I wasn't a bright kid. You see, I loved popcorn. I still do, but back then I was obsessed with popcorn. For my birthday that year, I was given my very own hot air popcorn popper. Once upon a time, that was cutting edge technology. Well, to me it was. One day, my mom casually mentioned that if I planted a kernel of popcorn, a corn plant would grow. This blew my mind. I could grow my own popcorn? Again, I wasn't a bright kid. Either way, the next day I set out to grow my own popcorn. The only issue was we lived among the sand dunes next to Lake Michigan. The soil wasn't ideal for growing anything. Well, it was sand. This didn't deter me. I took my handful of popcorn kernels and planted them next to the beach grass that sparsely grew around our house. I watered the soil, sand, diligently. My parents and older siblings snickered and thought I was crazy. Then the most incredible thing happened. Little tiny corn plants sprouted out of the sand next to the beach grass. My family was shocked. I was thrilled and proud. I was growing corn. Then the corn plants died. It was sand after all. You can't grow corn in sand. At least I couldn't. This summer I'm growing corn once again, now in a New York City suburb. Here is our first ear of corn. Isn't that amazing? My wife and children kind of snicker and think I'm crazy. This is my 3rd year in a row trying to grow corn successfully. If my recent past harvests are any indication, this summer I'll likely feed my family one entire meal of corn for all my effort. Could I cheaply buy fresh corn from just about anywhere? Sure, but I didn't grow that corn. Besides, I'm still not that bright. I love you guys.
Here in the middle of this 3-day weekend, Jim Gaffigan has thoughts on 3-day weekends.
Tomorrow is Labor Day, a moment for us to recognize the many contributions workers have made to America's strength, prosperity, and well-being. It's an important day. It's also a 3-day weekend, which on the surface sounds amazing. Who doesn't want another day in the weekend? Well, I don't. Now, before you think I'm just a grumpy old man who looks really good because he lost some weight, allow me to explain. These 3-day weekends are always followed by a stressful 4-day work week. Things we normally would do in a 5-day work week are now stuffed into 4 days. I don't like that. Waking up after a 3-day weekend is never fun. That extra day of sleeping in for me convinces my body that I'll never have to wake up early again. Waking up a teenager on a Tuesday after a 3-day weekend is virtually impossible. Unnecessary drama. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. It makes more sense to play volleyball with a hornet's nest. I don't want that. 3-day weekends present unnecessary pressure to socialize. If it's a normal weekend like God intended, I don't have to do anything. But you add just 1 day more to a weekend, and suddenly I'm hosting a barbecue? Strangers are coming over and looking at my stuff? For some reason, I'm being invited to my daughter's boyfriend's dad's uncle's place for a night in Rhode Island? I don't want to do any of that. 3-day weekends always mean travel disasters. Doesn't matter which day you travel on a 3-day weekend, there's traffic. A drive that normally would take 40 minutes suddenly now takes 12 hours. I'm convinced some of those 3-day weekend drivers are paid by the government to get in my way. You probably think I'm being paranoid, but you know who invented the 3-day weekend? That's right, the government. Think about it.
It's been a rough couple of months for our Jim Gaffigan. We'll let him explain.
How are you holding up? Are you over it? I'm over it. I'm fine. At least, at times I think that. It's obviously not what I wanted, but that's life. I'm not gonna lie, it's been an adjustment, but the world continues to spin. And I'm an adult. I have children that are counting on me. I mean, they don't listen to me, but I can't just curl up in a ball and mope. Sometimes I'm embarrassed how detached I feel about it. The me from September would be ashamed of how well I'm holding it together. I've become the person giggling at a funeral. I'll admit it, I was blindsided, but I knew this could happen. I prided myself on being the contrarian when all the other supporters were putting the cart before the horse. I've done my research. I read all the articles. I know the history. This has happened before, not that long ago. It'll probably happen again. I'd be lying if I didn't admit I do think about it, mainly in the morning. It mostly lingers for a moment, wanting to own my whole day. As I get my coffee, I always ask the same questions. Is this real? How did this happen? I've done a deep dive on all the numbers, trying to figure out who's to blame. Sometimes I think I care too much. Other times I feel my emotional state means I've lost the ability to empathize. I'm a numb shell of a former compassionate human. It happens every morning. Then I shake it off, wake my kids up for school, and face the reality. The New York Jets are not going to make the playoffs. They have Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, and that defense, all those weapons, and they're done. It's brutal. Anyway, I'm okay. We're going to be okay. Maybe.
Now, Jim Gaffigan, filled with holiday spirit.
Some of you may have already completed your holiday shopping, but most of us are normal. If you're like me, over the next couple weeks, you'll have the following thought. Oh, I should probably get that person a present. Maybe it'll be for a friend, a neighbor, or a business associate. If you don't get them a present, it can be awkward. Better to err on the generous side. Now, what you get them is obviously up to you, but here's what you should not give anyone this holiday season. Don't give them food. You're giving someone a gift, not arriving at a potluck. I understand cookies, candy, and fruit may seem like a thoughtful, delicious idea, but nobody wants anything perishable. Instead of food, a great gift would be alcohol. Booze never goes bad, and based on the world we live in today, everyone needs it. It's not even noon, and just thinking about some of the conversations I'll be having this December makes me want to drink. Another thing nobody wants is clothing. Unless you're a personal shopper, you are not qualified to buy clothing for someone else. I don't care if there's a gift receipt, that's just like giving someone an errand. Instead of clothing, a great gift would be alcohol. Now you may think, but Jim, what if they don't want alcohol? That's fine. Then they'll re-gift it. No gift receipt necessary. Here's another no. Don't give gift cards. They're unimaginative and lazy. The gift card is just going to be lost. In 5 years, when the gift card is finally found, it'll be expired and just provide stress and guilt. Instead, a great gift would be alcohol. The alcohol can be used to numb the pain from misplacing all those gift cards. You may think, but Jim, alcohol is never the answer. Well, sometimes alcohol gets pretty close. Finally, don't give someone socks this holiday season. Yes, socks are practical, but wildly impersonal. You may think, but Jim, socks will keep them warm during the winter. If you really want to keep someone warm this winter, a great gift would be, you thought I was going to say alcohol, didn't you? Well, I am, because alcohol could warm your heart during a winter which we all know is going to be filled with a lot of awkwardness. You may also think, but Jim, alcohol is poison. Yes, it is. And like most parents of teenagers, I'm going to need some of that poison. If you're thinking of getting me a present this holiday season and wondering what I might want, to be honest, I would appreciate any gift, as long as it's alcohol. Have a good morning, everyone.